Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and today we're talking about the subject of, are you addicted to your issue and your struggle? Now, I don't mean that in a bad way, okay? It is an unconscious process. I don't think you would consciously choose to feel anxiety. I don't think you would consciously feel and choose to have a fear or a phobia or esteem issues or anything like that. But sometimes we can unconsciously get addicted to the issue. And we're going to break it down probably in a couple of ways. Now, the first way is the most simplistic way of making sense of it. And that is, your unconscious mind keeps issues for what I would call a secondary gain, right? A secondary gain. What is a secondary gain? Well, your unconscious mind is getting something by remaining the same. As an example, let's just say there's someone who, let's go for, they haven't got a job and therefore they don't have the income. And maybe because they're depressed or whatever it is, right? They get assistance maybe from the government. They may get assistance maybe from their friends and their family. They may get more support emotionally from their friends and their family. And maybe it is easier because they're not having to work and they're getting this support. Now, couldn't it be easy to see that maybe the unconscious mind is thinking, well, I get love from my family when I have this issue. I get moral support when I have this issue. People come round to help me. People give me money, or the government gives me money. Or my unconscious mind might go, well, I don't have to work that hard job if I keep the issue. So your own unconscious mind may be starting to get addicted to keeping the issue because we have these positive aspects. Now you may go, well, Joseph, they're not positive because I'm in pain and feeling depression or anxiety or chronic fatigue or migraines or whatever it is as an issue. Of course it's not good, but we're not thinking about the result. We're talking about the intent, the intention behind keeping it, which in this case, that example would be feeling love and support from your friends and family. In fact, there was one person my father was working with who had a lightning and thunder phobia. Every time the weather changed and there's thunder and lightning, all her friends would ring him up, say, are you okay? Do you want me to go over and make sure you're safe and all those things? After a while, that person felt that attention meant love. So it was a real weird double bind that we have this horrible feeling. But when we have that horrible feeling, we get acknowledged, we get approval, and we get love. So how do we navigate this? Well, the way of doing it is really logically understanding this. As you think about your issue, whatever the issue is, could you maybe think about some secondary gains? And if you need help right from the get-go, one of them is always going to be safety and protection. In some way, your unconscious mind is getting a safety protection mechanism. If I don't feel good enough, I'm not going to play big. I'm going to play it small. I'm going to stay in my comfort zone because I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to be rejected. I don't want to fail. I don't want to succeed in case all the pressure there. So we can go number one. It's going to be a level of protection, a level of safety and protection. So go ahead and then think, is there anything else that I get from this issue? Maybe a little bit consciously, but absolutely unconsciously, which is making me hold on to this that bit more. Because sometimes we can start to identify it, and this could be another subject, but sometimes if we have this issue, we can then start to label ourselves as a person who has that issue. Like we go, I am a depressed person. That is, break it down. I am a depressed person. We've now maybe, I'm not saying all the time, but we might go, well, if I am a depressed person, I can never be happy. I can't be like someone else. Now, the tricky navigating it there is, look, labels are okay sometimes. They can make us understand about ourselves, like, oh, I have ADHD. I just don't want us to play into the game of like, that means I'm gonna stay this way forever. So consider maybe some of the labels that you have from the issue itself, because that label we start to identify with. Like, I'm going to backtrack just to be clear here. Labels are good for understanding, but in some cases, if we do that for too long, we will start to identify as that is who we are. And that means it makes it harder to change and get the results that we want. So be conscious of the unconscious identifications that it's running there. So that's one level. Once you've kind of listed them out, emptied them out of all the things which could keeping you stay the same, notice and consider other ways you can fill those feelings or get what you get from keeping the issue without the issue. For example, if it was the getting love and support, is there another situation where you can get love and support from a family member when you're not like that in that scenario? And then do as much as you can in doing that thing, because after a while your unconscious mind go, well, I actually get love and support and approval in this other thing without this pain. So come up with some alternative scenarios or solutions of where you can get those good feelings, those good intentional secondary gains, but without the issue. The other thing, the last part of this is when we start to feel addicted to our issue, unconsciously, we'll start to feel like a victim. And being a victim is meaning that we're on the effects side of life. And that starts to create labels. That causes us to start to identify that this is who I am. And the other last the very last part of this is sometimes we get into the habit, like we say things like, well, this, when everything's going good, I know that something's going to bring me down. Like you're just almost expecting something to take away the progress you're having. That can be a vicious loop. So be conscious of the things that you say to yourself. In other words, are you kind of unconsciously hypnotizing yourself to stay the same by your themes of life, like how you represent how life goes with you, works for you, or works against you? Once you start to catch those belief systems of perceptions of life, you can start to then catch them when it happens, and therefore you can start to do something about it. We're almost, throughout all the things I've said here, by the way, these are unconscious processes that we're making at the conscious level. Like we're getting that conscious understanding. The more you get it up there, you're getting the unconscious conscious, and then you can start to feed in a new solution. You can use any one of my hypnosis sessions. We have hundreds, I should count them. We've got over 1,000 hypnosis sessions in the app, and you can just go ahead and get that at freehypnosis.app and start to do the deeper work. But the more you understand about yourself, the more you're able to do something about it. So don't let it just run havoc at an unconscious level. We don't need to be addicted to our issue. In fact, we can start to let it go systematically once you start to isolate, recognize, and then start to implement through maybe the hypnosis app at freehypnosis.app. You can listen as you go to sleep. You can transform in the day. You can have morning meditations. You can even create your own custom tracks. You get to just get the solution to freedom at an unconscious and conscious level. So that's freehypnosis.app. Many thanks and goodbye.